Hi everyone, my name is Paige and you are watching Elevate Filipino TV. It's the place where you want to be to discover possibilities, unlock your potential so that you can finally create a life and a business that you love. Joining me today is my dear friend Martine De Luna. Martine is a paradigm disruptor and a certified flow-based transformation coach. Hi Martine, welcome.
Hi, Paige. Nice to be here. I'm so excited.
I am so excited. Today our topic will be about why the key to a magnetic brand is meeting the real you. Now,
Yes.
Martine, for anyone who's starting an online business or who has an online brand,
Mm-hmm.
having a magnetic branding is so powerful because
Yep.
it's the key to expand your impact, right? And so
Yes.
what really caught me to your pathway in branding is, oftentimes branding agencies and consultants will focus on copywriting and
Mm-hmm.
color palettes,
Yes.
whereas you focus on self-awareness and
Mm-hmm.
personal development. So
Yes.
tell me, Martine, why is self-awareness and personal development inseparable when it comes to, establishing your dynamic and your magnetic brand?
Okay. So first of all, I'd like to quote the Hindu monk, the modern monk, Dandapani. And Dandapani said, our greatest contribution to humanity will be our own self-awareness. And so you can have a business that solves the problems of the human race. You can have a business that really delivers services to your ideal client. But until you are self-aware, you can only do so much and go so much, right? So self-awareness is you being able to make sense of why you are here. And so the more self-aware one is, then the more they are able to withstand the challenges that will come, because we are human, we will all have challenges, recover from them, and then gain wisdom from the recoveries, the challenges that they have surpassed, and use that in their leadership, in their growth and impact. So that is why we cannot separate our own growth and our own self-actualization from who we are, what we do, and how we do it, which is a brand.
I love it. So,
Yeah.
Martine, a lot of the times I know that we spoke about this, we like part of your mission is you want to share the movement of mindfulness and self-awareness, especially to our Filipino community.
Yeah.
And perhaps someone is just getting started in this journey. And their, self-awareness might be a new term for them. Now,
Mm-hmm.
if it were someone who's just beginning this journey of becoming more self-aware, what are some practical tools that they can do so that they can actually start practicing the, self-awareness
Right.
and master this so that they can better know themselves?
Right. Well, I always like to start with a framework that I use with my own clients and that I use in my business.
Mhm.
So with your permission, can I share this concept with you on the
Oh
screen?
yeah, for sure. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So I like to work with the framework of understanding the mind. Okay. Now this diagram was actually popularized by one of the peak performance coaches of all time, Bob Proctor, who's incidentally based there where you are in Canada. And he popularized the simplification of the study of the human mind, because most people, we go through our lives frustrated, confused, wondering why we can't seem to break out of the cycles that we find ourselves in. Like, how can you explain these success stories like Oprah Winfrey being
Mhm.
able to surpass rape, poverty, and rejection? It didn't begin just by the opportunities that she had, but the frame of mind that she had. And we all have this same kind of mind. And there's two areas of the mind. There's the conscious mind,
Mhm.
that is the top half. That is the mind by which we see, smell, taste, touch, and hear things. So right now, everybody watching this video is using their conscious mind
Mhm.
to absorb information, to choose what information they will accept and what they
Mhm.
will reject. Now, based on what you accept, you store that information in your subconscious mind where it simmers and brews and creates what we call a program. Now, we are all running programs, or my word for it is paradigm. And a paradigm is a mental program that runs within your mind, and your mind is not your brain. Your mind is a mental activity, right? Now, your subconscious mind is a feeling activity. It is your emotional mind. And anything and everything that we've chosen to accept as ideas, when we accept and make them our beliefs, they operate within that subconscious mind. And so you can have somebody who, let's say they want to lose weight, but in their subconscious mind, their program is that I was born into a fat family. They can diet, they can work out, they can do all the nutrition that they want, but because the subconscious mind dictates everything that the body responds to and reacts to, they will find themselves in that maybe yo-yo effect
in that
of
limbo,
losing weight, right? Because our subconscious mind is who we believe we are. And so in my coaching, my objective for my clients is to help them to understand, how have you been seeing yourself? What is the program running in your subconscious mind? And was that program written by you or by your parents, and you just unknowingly took it on? Like, I was always told that I'm not the math girl, I'm the art girl. And so I stuck at math because I'm not a math girl, I'm an art girl, you know? So anything and everything that we absorb and accept as an idea creates a belief. And as James Allen said, your belief will create the fact. So whatever it is you believe about yourself, whether I'm a poor Filipina living in a third world country and therefore I can never have, you know, like coaching clients in the US, guess what? That's exactly what you're going to create in your reality. So you see why this all ties into having a magnetic brand. You only magnetize what you feel and believe you are, not what you do, not the copywriting, not the value proposition, not the jazz and the colors and the pictures that you put on your feed. It's who you believe you really are. And that's the biggest breakthrough in personal branding.
Yeah, that is definitely the biggest breakthrough. And, you know, it sets you apart too. Like, clients don't just end up, you know, if someone reach out to you and they want help when it comes to establishing their brand, you don't just leave them with a website or a brand style guide. You actually help them in the process of unraveling the layers of who they really are, so that they can, when they finally know who they really are, they're able to translate that into copywriting, into imagery, right?
And
so
into their offers, right?
Yeah. And I love what you said, that, you know, ultimately in business, you only really attract who you are or how you feel, right? How you feel attracts the type of clients you get. So if let's say, I know some people, they always attract the wrong clients, or maybe clients who don't like to pay on time, or clients who don't see your value. So they end up trying to get the latest discount or whatever.
Right. They try to milk you based on their consciousness, because people only operate in the level of awareness that they have. This is why we have a term in the industry called an awakening, where you break through a certain paradigm and then you can never go back. That's the beauty of mindset and mind work. It's that when you break a paradigm, you've broken it for good. You might still struggle with memories of it, but you've broken it and you have the awareness to move forward from it.
That's really powerful. You know, I just want to share something, because this conversation that we're having is so powerful. And I really do believe people need to be more aware of how powerful, just making a decision of who you are can change your life. So for example, I remember growing up as a teen, and to all of my high school friends who's probably watching this, I remember as a teen, I resonated as being, quote unquote, emo / depressed mode.
Yeah.
And I remember when I turned 18, I said, you know what? I cannot be like this my entire life. I'm always I'm looking for maybe a boyfriend to make me feel better, or, blaming it on my parents for, what I mean? Like blaming my family for how I'm feeling. And then ultimately I just decided, you know what? I am not going to associate myself with the word depressed anymore.
Right. Right.
Just
Exactly.
choosing that. Like, sure, there's so many things in my life maybe at that time that I can be depressed, but just
Mm-hmm.
consciously choosing that I'm not gonna associate with that word
Mm-hmm.
anymore
Mm-hmm.
changed it moving
Yeah.
forward. And
Yeah.
so you're right, you know, I love what you said, you know, oh, I'm just this Filipina, you know, in the Philippines. How am I gonna work with clients abroad? It's
Mm-hmm.
just all a paradigm.
Yeah, I'm gonna choose to not believe it. And this is the important thing. You must also heal that belief. You must find
Mhm.
out where it came from. And a lot of the work that goes into that is a work called shadow work, which
Yeah.
is a Jungian philosophy, Carl Jung. And that's really important to breaking the paradigm, because if you just simply choose a new idea, but you don't nip it in the bud, then
Mhm.
as T. Harv Eker said, you won't change the fruit. It's the root that changes the fruit.
Mm.
So part of the work that one does to change one's beliefs is to find out where it came from. And that can go way into what your parents believed or what even your grandparents believed. It's really good stuff though, because once you're aware of it, you have the arsenal to nip it in the bud and create new and powerful beliefs that are more aligned to who you really are. And all we really are is we are our creators. We are creatrixes if we are feminine. And we are the source and cause of all the possibilities that we have. So that is really important to know, the healing part of it.
This really excites me. Like talking to you, it's just, it enlivens me. It's really exciting. So, you know, Martine, when someone decides, okay, I recognize that I have this conscious mind and I have this
Mhm,
subconscious mind, and
mhm,
I want to finally step into my real authentic self,
mhm.
oftentimes, you know, what they encounter is what we call the imposter syndrome, right?
Right,
So as you mentioned, we need to nip it in the bud.
we
Where
do.
does that belief come from?
Okay. So the imposter syndrome comes from the belief outside of us, of other people's beliefs. So I'm going to go back to my little chart here, right?
Yeah.
And the problem is with the mind is we might be lopsided to just that conscious mind.
Mhm.
And that conscious mind can only make decisions out of the conditions that it sees, the circumstances it finds itself in, and the environment it surrounds itself with. So if you're a person who's trying to change your belief about, let's say, who you are, let's say you're trying to change your belief about you being a third world located Filipino freelancer. And
Mhm.
so therefore, I can only charge this much an hour because I'm a Filipino living on the other side of the world, and uh, the economies of scale are different here. If you keep believing that, and then you keep surrounding yourself with people who perpetuate that belief,
Mhm.
don't be surprised if you can't raise your price points because you haven't raised your worth points.
Mhm.
We are the only ones who can give ourselves worth, not the other way around. Often we look at other people for our worth. Oh, you know, what will my lover think of me? Or when I have a lover, I will be happy. Or when I have this type of marriage, I will be happy. Or when I have this type of home, then I'll be happy. We go the reverse, and that doesn't work that way. The mind does not work in the reverse. It only works one way. It's by giving it new ideas to work with. And by new ideas, that means maybe hanging out with other people that are more supportive of that new idea. And so what I've done personally is, because I wanted to position myself globally, I hired a coach from the other side of the world. I said, I want to go international, then I'm going to hire somebody who can mentor me, who is working with international clients. And so that's exactly what I did. And when I did that, that's when I experienced the first level of that paradigm shift, because I changed the environment. There
Mhm.
is a study in biology right now called epigenetics. And it's too deep to go into. But basically, it's your environment that dictates the well being of your body and of your mind. And so, if you don't change your environment, the people you associate with, the information that you receive, then you will keep creating the realities that are at par with those circumstances, conditions, and environment. And so this is why I advise clients, let's say they're lonely or they're struggling with loneliness during a stressful time. Don't look for misery with other people. Look for somebody who will listen to you without judgment, accept you for who you are, and allow you to be in that, be in that sadness, or be in that loneliness, but not alone. You see? So when you do something like that, when you make a conscious shift, and we can only make shifts with our conscious mind, because the subconscious does not have the sensory factors of sight, smell, taste, hear, and touch. It's only feeling, okay? So you have to do something over and over again as a habit to be able to reprogram that subconscious mind. And this is why affirmations work, okay? Because we give ourselves new scripts of belief that I am worthy. A Filipina is a global quality coach. I am, people love to pay me from all over the world. Money comes to me in increasing quantities from multiple sources on a continuous basis. Caveat, that is actually Bob Proctor's personal mantra. When you do that, you are using your voice, you're using your sensory factors to program that new information. You can even journal it. You can put it in Post-its around your house, sending those conscious signals into the subconscious mind through changing the environment. And when you do that as a practice, you'd be surprised. In a month, you'll see that you are thinking differently and therefore acting differently and therefore getting new results from this new behavior. Dr. Joe Dispenza, one of the experts in neuroscience today, he says, your personality, meaning the idea that you have of who you are, creates your personal reality. And so your reality outside of you won't change until you change the personality. And the good news is we can have any personality that we want. We simply must choose what kind of personality we want.
That is so powerful. Oh my gosh. I feel like
right?
you're my new best friend.
Yes, we have to like have coffee dates or something.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like what I love here is you actually gave our viewers tangible things that, tangible and practical things that they can do now, right?
Yeah.
So obviously changing your subconscious mind, it's a filter, right? Like
It's a filter.
that new thought has to go through your conscious mind first and into your subconscious.
Yeah.
And sometimes the conscious mind tries to kick it out. It's not letting it inside the conscious brain.
And that's why sometimes people who do all the affirmations and the vision boards, it doesn't work because they are still carrying the paradigm within them. So that's why it's important to think about why you think the way you think, right? Why do I believe that? Where did it come from? Asking these questions, or the process of self-inquiry, will help you to also understand where they came from. And here's the important thing: to appreciate the lesson of discovering them. A lot of people, when they go into why they are the way they are, they blame their parents, they blame what happened to them. But blame is living by that outside going in. We can't create a new person by doing that. We can't have our environment, our zeitgeist outside of us controlling who we are. So it must start from within us. So we must develop practices where the love and appreciation for oneself, you give it first to yourself, not your partner, not your mom or dad, you. So there's an even deeper process of forgiveness, of loving that part of you that felt damaged or triggered before. And when you do that, what you do there is you become more and more authentic. This is why I love things like crystals, because crystals are perfect in form, they're beautiful, and they have no blame or attachment to anything. That's what happens when you rewrite your paradigm by going into where it began, not judging the people, circumstances, or environment that contributed to why it began, loving yourself despite the pain that you felt, or despite any anger that you've had, and then forgiving. Forgiveness is basically removing any negative charge that you have with an idea or an individual. And that's the last step to becoming magnetic. Because when you forgive, imagine that your body is integrating all of those broken pieces and becoming crystallized, like that crystal. And you know, crystals, they're very magnetizing, right? You just pick
Oh,
it
yeah.
up and like, oh, like that salt
It's
lamp
so
behind you,
beautiful. I
right?
know, I
You're just,
love it.
it's so perfectly pink, and I just love it. That's what happens to you. And that's why we call it magnetism. When you love even the rejected parts of yourself that you rejected before, that you don't want to look at, when you embrace those as making you the you that you are today, you become whole. Nothing has power over you anymore. And you become that authentic, magnetic self. And this is why the most magnetic people are the people who, they don't judge others. They don't judge themselves. They're very good at forgiving. They are very good at keeping their boundaries and their energy. And they know what they want. And that's true manifestation. That's how I teach true manifestation to people. It's not what you put on your vision board and hustling to get it done, but it's healing yourself and becoming whole and authentic that brings you the things that are a match to you. Because if you're whole and abundant, then because of the law of the universe, you will attract what you are. Law of attraction. So I wish to bring this to more and more Pinoys around the world, especially because, you know, we do have a hard time. We do have a challenging time as a nation and as a nationality, accepting that we are worthy, right?
Like we're so
Imagine if
used
all
to,
of
I
us
think
were.
some of it is we're so used to working hard, like, oh, I have to work really
Yeah,
hard just to get what
yeah.
I want, right? Or maybe even just settling less, playing it safe. For example, a lot of us, actually like a common theme when I'm doing these interviews are how a lot of the times parents would want us to take a certain, education route,
Right,
right? And what happens is you're fulfilling someone else's dream because
correct.
you're playing it safe. Like this is what's going to give you financial stability when it's
Yeah,
not actually being authentic to who you are.
yeah, yeah. So when we make money our ultimate goal, like when we put money on a pedestal, what we're doing is we're putting a means as a goal, right? So money is a tool.
Yeah.
A tool is not your goal. It's the freedom that you want
Mm-hmm.
from, and then that tool is what you use to achieve that freedom. So you're based in Canada. I gather that when you migrated there with the family, they had a dream that we would provide a better life. You know, so many of us can relate with that. I'm a third culture kid as well. You know, we lived abroad for 10 years while we were in elementary school because my dad had that idea. Like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I provide this different kind of life for them and give them opportunities, etc. But if the goal is simply just the money, a tool can't fulfill you. Like a hammer won't fulfill you if you want to build a house.
Mm-hmm.
It's using it for the house
Yeah.
that will fulfill you. So we have to get it straight, especially us Pinoys. We tend to pedestalize money, and money's great. Like I love money and I love talking about it. I talk about it a lot with my clients, helping them to bust through what we call money blocks.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm always very mindful to ask them, where did your beliefs about money come from? Was it just because your parents said this job, like be a doctor or be a lawyer, would make the most money,
Mm-hmm.
right? Bob Proctor said, hard work, you never earn money from hard work. You earn money by providing value, and you work for satisfaction. That's from his book, You Were Born Rich. And I love quoting that because it changes the paradigm that we have about work.
Mm-hmm.
If you have work, it doesn't mean that you have to hate that work. It just means you have to change your perspective around it. A lot of my clients who are in corporate, you know, they're in managerial positions, very stressful. They want to quit their jobs, but they're doing it because they want a certain lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
So I reposition it. I say, you don't really hate your job. You just hate your perception of yourself. And that's why you're unhappy with your job. But what is your job, the tool, helping you to do? Well, it's helping us to pay for this beautiful house and these cars that give us convenience. and the schools that my children get to go to, these exclusive schools, then I said, okay, so now how are you viewing that job or that work that you have? It changes their perception. So it's really not about, you don't have to do this whole throw caution to the wind and be romantic and chuck corporate out of the window.
Mm-hmm.
You mainly have to decide and see what is the freedom that this means or this tool is giving me. Then you change your perception. Then suddenly it doesn't become a job that you hate, but a tool that you love to use for that freedom that you love to have, which is that house, those cars, living, being able to send your kids to the schools that they want to go to, and so on. So you see how the mind really creates everything for us? It's amazing.
It really is amazing, the perspective determines your reality. And,
Yes.
like one of the things that I love about what you had just told me, like putting things together, when we talk about branding, a lot of the times, if you don't know yourself yet, or if you have not healed from whatever paradigms you've put, you've kind of secluded yourself in,
Yeah.
then whatever pretty branding,
Yeah.
it might just actually be a band-aid to
Right.
what's behind it.
Or it's an outfit that a stylist picked for you, but you didn't even know what your personality was. It's like it becomes a shell, just a mere shell. Yeah. So what you want to do is you never want to stop this quest for personal growth. That's why I always say you're always meeting who you are for where you need to be and the time that you're in. Because when you see that we are never actually ending anything, then you stop holding resistance to these goals that you're after. You become more surrendered and in flow. The reason why I am a flow-based coach is because I help people to live in the flow and not in that linear paradigm of once I get this, then I'll be happy. No, we only really have now, this present moment. The future, not yet there. A minute from now, not yet there, unless you rewind this video, right? But so what are you gonna do with exactly the moment you've been given? That's where your personal brand also comes. Your personal brand is basically your story and your experience up to this point. So it is always being written. So if you are of the frame of mind that I am never gonna be complete, and I love that because I can become anything and anyone I want to be, then you become free. Then you treat yourself as this ever-changing experiment of the universe. And when you do that, you'll be more adaptable to change, to transitions. You'll be able to have less suffering in your life. And suffering is really what we all want to be free from, isn't it? Yeah.
So Martine, you've been coaching a lot of women, and you're a mentor to a lot of them. I'm curious to find out, you've been coaching all of these wonderful people. What role did coaching and mentorship actually play in your personal life, in your personal journey?
Well, in 2015, when I had my daughter, my second child, I went through a depression. It was the first time I'd felt a depression in my physical body. I also experienced our family's income being slashed in half when my husband lost his job. We also had to move houses as a result. We moved away from the house where my eldest son took his first steps. So I was in a dark place at the end of 2015. And what pulled me out of that, ironically, was personal growth. I had never heard of Bob Proctor and Tony Robbins prior to that. It just wasn't the culture that I was in. But when I got introduced to personal growth and all of these great leaders, I decided to learn from them. And when the idea of the conscious and the subconscious mind was introduced to me, I could not unsee it anymore. And so I decided to learn how to heal myself of those paradigms, how to create new beliefs. And I fell so much in love with it that I knew I'd found my path as a transformational coach. So before that, I had been a bloggers and influencers coach to a lot of people here in the Philippines. And I was happy with that. But I was also unhappy because I was unfulfilled.
Mm.
I was working for money, I was working for status. And when I got depressed, I learned that really having those as your end goal will eventually break you. So I needed a bigger goal. So my purpose today is to help women become their most powerful and love-filled selves, to own their worth and to trust themselves. So by doing that, what we're actually doing is helping more and more people to become the real them. And that's the beauty of this idea of the conscious and the subconscious. And I had to find out for myself first what that was and what that meant.
So Martine, I absolutely love your process in, you actually shared your story with us that it wasn't always this way for you, right?
Mm-mm.
And it gives everyone this glimmer of hope that, you know what, wherever you are right now, when you're watching this, you can still change and you have the power to actually transform your life. Now, I'm curious, actually, when you started getting introduced to all these teachers and mentors, who was it who introduced them to you? Was it
So
or
with Bob Proctor's work, in 2016, when I was getting back on my feet, so I should mention that at the point of depression, I stopped my blog coaching. I stopped working for about 6 months, trying to just live off our savings and get back on our feet. It wasn't that I didn't want to work, it's that I couldn't. And so a friend of mine approached me with a network marketing company, which I loved because I was introduced to the personal growth element there. It's a very huge part of that industry. And so network marketing introduced me to people like Tony Robbins and Bob Proctor. And I stuck with Bob Proctor's work. I started following him on YouTube simply because he made the process so easy to understand. I ended up coaching with one of his consultants who was able to take me through the framework that they have, and it contributed to the type of coaching that I do right now, which is this mindset, flow-based transformational coaching. And so the influences that I've had are people like Bob Proctor and those who work with the human mind. I'm also a great fan of Joe Dispenza's work, and also of Greg Braden, Dr. Bruce Lipton, the Heart Math Institute, which teaches the art of brain and heart coherence. So these are my influences today. And I really also resonate with the works of Brene Brown and Gabrielle Bernstein, people who marry like the science with the spirituality of things. So that's really where I find my, shall I say, my cadence and my rhythm for how I do the work with the people. And also, I'm very grateful to the coaches that I've had. I still work with the same coach, my first ever transformational coach, Jenny Fenig. So she's based in the US. She's the one I mentioned that I hired to break through that paradigm of I'm the third world Filipina, right? And we work together up till now. I'm one of her consultants in her business. So it's something that I do on the side, but she is also my coach. So it's important to surround yourself with successful people, people who have also had their own tragedies and have turned them into triumphs. So that is important. You don't want to learn from somebody who is perfect. There's no such person. We are all dual creatures. We all have dualism, the dark and the light. So you want to work with people who aren't expected to be saints or angels, but right in the middle there, right? So these are the influences that have impacted me the most, and from whose work I've been able to craft my own work and my own framework of delivering the coaching that I do.
That's really exciting. I love the process that you share with us, because oftentimes when people talk about businesses or branding or whatnot, it's often just the surface of
Not
something
me.
a lot deeper, right? And what you do with your process is it's very holistic, where you combine your purpose, which is in translation to your business, to your personality, who you are, and even connecting the spirituality behind it. So
Yeah.
I love that. So, you know, a lot of our viewers here today, I know, are so excited to have an opportunity to break their own paradigm with your guidance.
Yes.
So share with us, how can they get in touch with you?
Okay, well, if you want to work with me, you can go to martinedeluna.com. That's my website. And we have some choices for you there. You can work exclusively one-on-one with me through our VIP coaching. And that's where I really help to take you through your own customized process of breaking paradigms and creating new ones. And I also have open and shut enrollments for group programs. So I am bringing to you, the next program is called Awaken the Leader Mastermind, how to create and launch your own group coaching program. So that runs twice a year. And I think as of this summit, that's gonna run, that's the next one I'm gonna run, okay? And then I also have our Resilience School. So this is our membership, kind of entry-level coaching, if you will. The membership allows you access to tools like these paradigm shifting mindset tools, meditations, guest speakers in the area of science and spirituality and personal growth. So these are the options that you can look into to help to shift your paradigm and create a magnetic you. So I'm so excited to welcome any of you into these if it's a fit for you.
I'm really excited, and definitely guys, check it out. We will link them all down below. And you know, as we wrap up this conversation, I just want to ask Martine, what is your parting message for our viewers today?
My message page will be meet the real you. That's all you need to do. Meet the real you. Strive to understand who he or she is. Strive to forgive what you discover when you look into who he or she is. Because it is in forgiveness and in acceptance and in integrating all of those into you that you will be truly free. And when you are truly free, you open up yourself for abundance, for worth, and even the material things that you might have just wished for, but never knew how to get. Remember, when you're the real you, you become authentic. And a person who is truly authentic is magnetic. He or she just attracts things to themselves simply by being who they really are. And so that is my hope and wish for everybody watching this. Thank you.
That has been beautifully said. And you know what, guys? Definitely, if you're ready to meet the real you, make sure you share your breakthrough with us through social media. Tag me and Martine. We'd love to hear it so that we can celebrate this breakthrough with you. So once again, if you enjoyed this segment, make sure that you share this with your friends and your family, because chances are it's not just going to change your life, but it's also going to change their life. So, you know, our mission here at Elevate Filipino TV is that together we can rise. Together we can shift the culture and be elevated Filipinos. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Paige, and this is my dear friend Martine, and we'll catch you on the next episode.